You know what's dope about being born and raised in a different country is that when you come to America, you realize that all these people is just trying to find ways to survive, not just find ways to survive, but everybody's trying to run from something. So everybody is trying to run towards something, right? They come to America for the American dream, while they have people over here telling Americans to go somewhere else because it's more fair over there. But everybody has something against their government, right? No country has, I heard Lady Boss say this, no country has any utopias. But we could build utopia right here. You could build a utopia in the projects. Y'all just got to be brave enough to, do some shit that people won't like. And then y'all just have to stand on business. It's not hard to stand on business when it's something that, it benefits everybody. And usually you don't have to stand on business when you're doing something that don't just benefit you, because other people are going to see the benefits of coming along with you, right? Joining along with you, right? Fighting alongside you. I see a lot of people, I said this before, I'm not against nobody trying to make some money, because everybody in this world, is trying to survive. They're trying to take care of themselves. They're trying to take care of their family. They're trying to take care of their responsibilities. So it's going to be the same way that it was hundreds and thousands of years ago. It's just going to, and it's going to feel the same. But like I said, with the reconstructions and all this Mandela effect and all this stuff like that they do every 20 years, it's just certain things are going to be different. Like, you might have started in China, but now hundreds of years later, you in America trying to go and get back to China. And then you realize China don't want nothing to do with no foreigners, or Japan and Tokyo don't want nothing to do with no foreigners. And now America is on the same timeline, right? America is on the same energy. Don't want nothing to do with no foreigners. So now every foreigner, well, I feel like it's a specific type of foreigner, but I guess you got to start somewhere. If I'm playing devil's advocate and I'm speaking for them, you got to start somewhere. And then when you start, you get to a point where you could control the masses. You could control the publications that people use to get entertainment, right? You could control the programs that's used, right? Everybody could upgrade, or like on Google, how everybody can go into Google and Wikipedia, and anybody could type in whatever definitions they want to whatever questions or answers that people are searching for. So with those programs that they have now, it's like them same programs and I remember making a video about anxiety, right? So those same programs are just stepping and dancing and prancing on the anxiety nerve, right? They're making you anxious, right? You're anxious to go travel now. You're anxious to go see the world. You're anxious to uproot yourself from where you live and from where you're from to go and try to settle and settle down somewhere that you know nothing about. Even if you have people that's living over there, the propaganda and the news is completely different than the propaganda and the news that you hear over here. Because the governments, NATO is all working together. NATO is all the governments of the Western and the Eastern world, right? Majority of the Western world, and they're trying to get the East, right? They're trying to get the East to join in, because once the East join in, like Buju Banton said, what it is about the East, everybody wants a piece, right? Africa, right? Once they get Africa, they already have America. So once they get Africa, they got the parent and they got the child now, right? So they have people that came from America to go over to Africa, and they have people that's from Africa come over to America, and both is trying to displace the people that belongs in both areas. So they got you over there anxious about moving over here, and they got you over here anxious to move over there. And anywhere you move, I told y'all this, you're not going to ever go somewhere and be established unless you're literally part of the conquerors that conquered the Indians, the Incas, and the Mayans, and took over their land, took their tongue, took everything from us, and then started doing all this propaganda stuff to make sure we never realize what they took from us. And when we do realize what they took from us, it's been so much integration that we don't care to take it back. It's so much integration that if you go into a institution, you might find somebody that is from where you're from, right? And that might be something that leads you to stray off of that path where, okay, we came here to take this shit back, like Martin Luther King said, when we go to Washington, we come in to get our check, right? Because he realized he had his people in a burning building. But what if he had went to Washington by himself and he see a whole bunch of niggas in the Oval Office counting money, using the money machine, right? And then they say, hey, leave them niggas in the burning building. We got all this money. We got all this capital. We got all this, that, and the third. He'll be like, shit. I'm just, playing devil's advocate, right? Because this is exactly how it happened. Some stranger didn't come into your house and say, hey, I know you don't know me from a can of paint, but let me influence you to betray each other, right? No, it never happened like that, right? We welcomed the enemy into the barbecue. We welcomed the enemy into the cookout. We welcomed the enemy into the fish fry and the potluck, right? We welcomed the enemy into the block party, right? And they decided they wanted to change the music. They decided they wanted to tune down the frequency. They decided they wanted to change how everybody danced. They wanted to change how everybody sang. They wanted to change how everybody dressed. They wanted to change how everybody ate, walked, and talked. So this is where we are today. So we've been so integrated. There's nobody that is really nationally calling for segregation outside of Dane Calloway. Outside of Dane Calloway, there is nobody calling for segregation, right? And segregation doesn't mean everybody got to be separated. Segregation just means we want to be able to have currency circulate in our communities before it leaves our community and goes somewhere else, right? Because if we do that, the money and the economic structure gets stronger, right? The longer the money stays within the community is the longer the money can be used in the community. So by the time it leaves the community, you came in with $100, right? And it's about 50 people in the community. Everybody get $1. So you got $50 left, right? Everybody got bills. So the bills is like 50 cents, right? And then everybody got expenses and things that they want to buy. So that's another 50 cents, right? And once you get done, you might have a couple dollars left over. And I know my math was a little bit all over the place. I never been too good at math, but I'm very good with numbers. And I'm very, very, very good with writing. And I'm immaculate with English. That's why I can speak how I speak and go into my head like, yo, how come I can't feel comfortable speaking in my dialect the same way that I feel comfortable speaking in a different form of English? But the form of English that I speak, I took longer, right? I've been in America longer than I've been in Trinidad. So for the 11 years that I was in Trinidad, I'm 32 now. So that's 21. That's 21 years I've been in America. So obviously the the majority of my English is not patois. It's what you call broken English, European English, because we were conquered by the Spanish, and then we were conquered by Europe. So being conquered by two different cultures, it definitely changes the way that you speak, right? And like I said, integration. As we were being conquered, we were being integrated, right? Women were raped, children were raped, right? And due to that happening, the babies that came, y'all know what happens with the system and all that stuff, right? So when the babies come, you got the judge that says, well, this person has X amount of capital, this person has X amount of this or X amount of that. Plus they came with the conquerors, right? They had their own bookkeepers, they had their own historians, they had their own preachers and pastors and all that shit. They had their own culture. So their culture, stupid man got a bottle of water on top of his car. Same car that made all that damn noise. Whatever. So they got their culture, right? But their culture was re-engineered from our culture, because the black woman gave birth to all races. It just took a little bit of time for things to get to the way that they are, for an army to be built. Like, sometimes I hate to do this, because I know a lot of people don't think about TV and reality being the same. But what they do on TV is exactly what they take from reality. They just changed up the name. But when Saruman was making his army, it took him a little bit of time. But he had the people, the locals from around, that he could conquer and then integrate his orcs with them so they can make Orokai. So that they can make Orc. Right? So it's all different type of breeds. So you got the goblins, you got the ghouls, then you got the orcs, then you got the Orokai, and then you got the Orcs, right? That's no different than the human race, right? You got the black, brown, yellow, whatever they want to call it, right? But we call each other the human race. But everybody separates, when you go down to your little, when you get the more local you get, is the more you get the separation of the races and all that, right? Because you could go into one neighborhood and it's a whole bunch of people from the east, and you go into another neighborhood, it's a whole bunch of people from the west, and they literally across the street from each other. But when you look at the local news, it's Houstonians, right? Because that person on that side of the road and that person on that side of the road is still living in a place that's colonized, and the name changed. So we don't care what the fuck y'all call yourselves on a local level. On a national level, this is what you are. On a world level, this is what they see. They see what we say what you are, right? So if the national news say, oh, the Houstonians, I'm in Japan, I don't know what the fuck, I don't know anything outside of a Houstonian. I know a Houstonian look like a black and a white person. So when I go over here and I start calling y'all Houstonians, y'all gonna get mad at me for calling y'all that, because y'all gonna be like, oh, that's not our name. That's not what we call ourselves. That's not who we are. But that's what y'all are on national TV. If y'all wanted to worry about what y'all are on a national stage, y'all need to stop worrying about who the fuck is across the damn street. Y'all need to stop worrying about who the fuck is across the tracks. That's why I kept saying, like, we don't have to be singing Kumbaya. But we have to come together to get rid of the fucking issue that's keeping us going, that's keeping us from going across the street, right? The same thing with that Shakespeare, right? Romeo and Juliet. They were both living across the street from each other, and they couldn't be together. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, Omashu, dude named Omar and the girl named Shu, they live right across the street from each other. I'm talking about everything that you see on TV is not for your entertainment. It's showing you exactly what's going on right now. The fucking Republicans and the Democrats, they live in the same fucking house. It's the White House. It's two wings. They live in the same fucking house, and they got all of us. It's only about 500 of them in Congress, and they got the whole 8 million Americans fighting against each other for not black and white, but we remove the black and white, and we replaced it with blue and red. So I'm bringing this full circle right now. Fuck landing a plane. I'm keeping the plane in the air. We're going to be flying out here. Right? Let me bring this full circle. Everybody's trying to go somewhere and go here and go there. Your government and my government are both working together to fuck us. Like I said, wherever you have holes, you can be fucked. You can inhale some fucking poison. You can ingest some fucking poison. You can listen to some fucking poison. Y'all not hearing me. Y'all not hearing me. I'm not saying stay where you are and don't move. I'm saying wherever you are in control of the way the energy moves. You are in control of how the frequency is moving. You are in control of how high that frequency is or how low that frequency is. The government, the TV, all that stuff, you are letting a stranger, a ghost. Like if you ever watch iRobot, when the doctor talked about the ghost in the machines, right? You letting the ghost in the TV tell you how to live your life. That nigga on the TV screen that talk about, oh, I'm an anchor and I work for Fox News or I work for CNN, they're ghosts. They don't even exist. You never seen them in real life, and you will never see them in real life. And if you do see them in real life, you not touching that motherfucker. And if you do touch that motherfucker, it might feel cold and callous. And you might wonder, well, maybe that person has maybe this person has a condition, right? Where they feel frozen and cold like a piece of metal. Or you could understand that it don't matter if the person look like a human being or not. It's about what's underneath the skin. It's about what lies beneath the skin. They want you to look at black and white, but they don't want you to look at the soul within. My government and your government is both fucking us, because they're practicing that Luciferian experiment and they're listening to soulless beings that don't give a fuck and they don't know how to feel. And when those people start feeling and realizing, hold on, these people got no souls, right? And they're making me do this, and I'm feeling this shit in my soul, but then I'm thinking, hold on, how could they tell me to do this? And I'm feeling like this. Do they feel like that? And then they finally get the conclusion that these motherfuckers don't feel nothing. And they start coming out and blowing the whistle, right? Edward Snowden blowing the whistle, right? My Prince blowing the whistle, right? DMX blowing the whistle. Bob Marley blowing the whistle. Marcus Garvey blowing the whistle. All of our heroes from the past blowing the whistle, because they got in bed with all these people that have no soul, and they realize that they don't feel nothing. And once they realize they don't feel nothing, they try to come back to the people like, hey, I know I told y'all to go down this way, but don't go down that way. You're going to die. And then the people are like, oh, now here you go. Oh, blah, 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 right? And then some people listen to you and they don't go down that way. But the rest of the people that go down that way, they end up dead. And then we end up with less and less and less people that's fighting on the side of good, because a lot of motherfuckers got a lot of pride. And they feel like They don't need nobody to tell them what to do. They don't need nobody to give them no advice. They don't need nobody to teach them nothing. They don't need nobody to help them learn nothing or study the fucking enemy even more. They don't need nobody to do that. And the same people that be like, I don't need you to do this or I don't need you to do that, they be looking at you on the off side, right? And when they look at you on the off side, they be the same people that go into bed with the people that got no soul, and they hang them up in the fucking on TV and on social media, and you like, hold on a second. That's the same somebody from over there that did the somebody to something, and all these people that are around them don't like them, right? Nobody in their family fuck with them. Nobody talk to them. Nobody around them. Nobody do nothing with them. But that's the person that's in that neighborhood that they want you to see as the famous person or the most popular person or somebody that can carry the flag for the people. It could be somebody with no grammar, no education, but they make you think that they got that education because they holding them up on their platforms. They're not holding them up on your platform. You're going to a platform to see where these people are held up. You are taking your energy and you're finding where these people are held and where these people are being used to control and manipulate the emotions and the feelings of other people, especially children that don't know them. But since they look like them and they don't yet know that those people are working for the people that have no soul, they're going to continue to follow. So you're going to continue to think that you need to leave your neighborhood and go somewhere else to become famous. You're going to have to leave where you live and where your family is to go somewhere else and be the best that you can be. But if you can't be the best that you can be wherever you are, you ain't going to go nowhere and do shit. If you can't be the best of you that you can be right there, ain't no point in you moving. You're going to do the same shit when you move. Nothing. You're going to talk the same shit where you move. Bullshit. You're going to influence the same way that you was influencing before. Nada. You're going to have the same people copying off of you that you had copying off of you before you left. Nobody. Because before you left, you weren't doing you. You was doing what the book said. You was doing what the TV and the ghost in the TV said. You were doing what the ghost in the machine said, right? Just because it's a TV and it don't move and it don't talk, well, it definitely talks. Just because it's a TV and it don't move and it don't have arms doesn't mean it's not a robot. You got a bunch of ghosts programmed into that fucking robot. That TV is a robot. And you know how I learned that? Watching cartoon movies called Robot. Y'all seen Robot Boy, right? Astro Boy. Y'all seen Astro Boy, right? When they take the soul or the spirit out of the machine, it sits there like a TV, doesn't it? When you turn your TV off, you don't hear nothing, right? It don't play no sounds, right? It don't play no music. It don't start talking to you. But you hit that switch, that motherfucker turn on. You start hearing music. You start hearing you start hearing people, right? That's a robot. You don't know the difference between a robot and a non-sentient being due to somebody telling you the theory of what a robot is and what a non-sentient being is. A sentient being is just somebody with a spirit and a soul. All right, that's just a big word that we use. It's jargon, like scientific. The scientific definition of a soul or a spiritual being is a sentient being, right? And the definition of a robot is a piece of machine or a piece of intelligence created by a sentient being, right? That's why I say it's artificial intelligence versus advanced intelligence, because I have advanced intelligence. You're supposed to have advanced intelligence. But when you use these machines and you use these robots to try to find the answer, like I said a couple miles back, somebody like me or anybody like you could jump on Wikipedia and change definitions and change theories and change all this, that, and the third, because they're not actual sources of information. They're not actual sources that you can go to learn anything. You can get information, but you're not gonna really learn anything because it's so much indoctrinative bullshit that they use and they just cram together to confuse you even more. And all the stuff that they use to confuse you even more, they get all that stuff out of the book. They get all that stuff out of the books. That's why I say you will never find yourself. And I remember telling y'all, I never found myself in no book. I never found myself in no building. You will never find yourself in no book. You can live your life exactly how the book says to live your life, and you'll still go to hell. Because you're not living from your heart. You're living out of a fucking book. You're living out of something that was written out of somebody else's heart. The book of who? The book of what? The book of who? Right? It's not called the book of God. Right? Every one of those books, none of them say the book of God. None of them say the book of Jesus. They all say the book of some other nigga that you never met and you never known that know God. And Jesus even said to his 12 disciples, one of y'all gonna betray me. All 12 of them disciples betrayed him. Because not one of them niggas was there when he was getting hung. Not one of them was there when they was killing him. The only people that was there was his fucking mother and Mary, the one that they called a whore. So, I'll say that to say this. While everybody is trying to move and go here and go there, instead of building where the fuck they can grow roots at, or building where the hell their roots are already planted at. See, me, I didn't have a choice, right? It was either stay and die or leave and thrive, right? Or leave and survive, right? Because where I was, it was no way that I can do what I'm doing now on the level that I'm doing it now, with the freedom that I'm doing it now, because I was in somebody else's place, right? And my name wasn't on that place. And I'm kind of glad that my name wasn't on that place, because if my name was on that place, it would have been a little bit harder for me to leave that place, because then it would have looked like that place is my place. And I have no place. I had no place when I was there. So now that I'm not there, I feel like I have, where I am where I belong. I'm in my place, right? I'm standing on my square. And that's a big motherfucking square. I think it's bigger than a New York block. Y'all know how big a New York City block is, right? Okay then, that's how big my square is. And I'm standing on that motherfucking square. I'm patrolling the motherfucking area, right? And I'm making sure it's safe in there. Because ain't nobody coming in my square and flipping the script and telling me how to live, or try to force me to live a certain way due to trying to control what's going on in my life, or trying to control the benefits that I get, and taking the benefits that I get, and then the benefits that I do keep for myself, preventing me from using it to help everyone else. So I couldn't speak how I speak. I couldn't, I was speaking how I wanted to speak, but not with that freedom, right? Because when you staying with somebody, it gives them that type of audacity, right? To feel like they have authority over you, right? Especially when they have no authority over themselves. They're going to try to take authority over you because they can't control their own life. They can't control the outcomes and the reality that they're living in, so they want to control yours, right? Like I said before, people that follow rules and people that follow orders, they're going to make sure that the children don't follow. All right, they're going to make sure that the children not only follow the rules, but they're going to add rules on top of those rules to make sure that the children don't get in trouble, or to make sure that the children don't do this or don't do that. And all that's doing is clipping the wings and preventing children from flying. It's taking the rainbow and just painting it black and white. It's a video that I see on the internet all the time, where this little boy and his father's working in an office, and he hates his life, he hates his job, but his son is always coming to him with, he's just excited about life. He's excited about everything. He's excited about what he did in school. He's excited about getting his backpack. And every time he goes up to his dad with excitement, this reminds me of my dad a lot. Like, every time he goes up to his father with excitement, his father always shuts him down. His father always makes him feel like shit. His father always tells him he don't have no time for him. His father always tells him get the fuck out of his face with that bullshit. His father always tells him he ain't got no time to talk. His father always tells him he ain't got no money, so he can't go to that amusement park with his friends or the school, right? So after seeing how his father is, the boy just like, fuck it, right? He came out of school, his father came to pick him up. The boy walked up to his father with no emotion. His father hugged him. He ain't even hug his father back. He just kept holding on to his backpack while his father's hugging him. And then his father realized his father lost his color. He was no longer blue. He turned gray, right? And he realized, holy shit, I only was blue and I had that color when my son was excited. So when he realized he lost his color, he pulled his son back in for another hug, and his son felt a little bit of joy. So he got his blue back on his color. But then the next day, it was the same thing all over again. And then when he realized that his son isn't enjoying life, his son isn't happy about life, and he realized that it was his fault, he started now making sure his son was, happy. He made sure his son was laughing. He made sure his son was excited. And then his son turned from gray, and he turned from gray. He got his color back, and his son got his color back. And that reminds me of me and my father. Because everything that I said, that's exactly what my father told me. He never had no time, never wanted to talk. Even now, I got a phone. My father still don't want to talk to me. But I'm still going to get on here, and I'm still going to tell everybody, you got to forgive your parents. You got to forgive your father. You got to forgive your mother, because you are your father and your mother. I still get on here, no matter how I feel, because it's bigger than me. And God is going to continue to make me feel like shit so that I can actually show that this is what I really want. Because if you could only do it when you're excited, and you could only do it when you're happy, what's going to happen when you're no longer happy or excited about it? You're not going to do it. So you only was doing it for that. So you're selfish as fuck. And now I'm going to take away that which you thought that you was going to get from doing this. Because this shit don't pay. This shit don't pay. I do this for free. Because all of the things that I overcame and I conquered in my life, I can help somebody. Talking about my story, I can help somebody. Fighting back tears while still delivering the message. That's doing God's work. Because they said Jesus wept. The only reason for Jesus to weep is to feel the pain and suffering of children. Is to know the hardships that people go through and face, and still tell you how strong you are, how powerful you are. Feeling hate because alchemy, I feel people's energy. I feel the hate coming off of them. Sometimes people have love, but when I feel that energy, it feels like lust, because they don't have that love for themselves, and they want somebody else to love them. They want somebody else to hold them up. They want somebody else to make them feel how they feel for themselves. I stopped doing that bullshit. I don't need no female, and I don't need no nigga to be around me to make me feel like how I feel. And I even wrote this down. A lot of females, they see me as, just a sexual object. I have a high sex drive. I know that. I'm able to defer and decipher my energy and which is which. I know that. But a lot of people weren't able to do that. And when I wasn't able to do that, I wasn't able to understand who I truly was. And now that I understand that, I was only in sexual relationships because the other person didn't want to build a family. The other person didn't want to build something that can sustain years and generations. The other person just wanted to fuck. They just wanted to have sex. So that's why I'm glad I'm 5 years removed from any fucking relationship, and I'm not getting in another relationship with no bitch. I ain't getting in no relationship with no female. I don't give a fuck about being friends with no nigga. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. And I'm glad that I'm at that point now in my life. Because now I'm doing it right. And it's been long enough since I started doing this shit. And I need to. Because not only do not giving a fuck helps me, but actually living it and realizing and seeing other people, it always helps me realize how life is a fucking cycle, is a spiral and not a circle. Because I can come back to a lot of shit and I can see a lot of people living that same shit and living that same way. And they refuse to change. And they will go into their latter years of their life treating their children the same way that they refuse to change. And there's going to be more cycles of people thinking that you could run away from a problem, or you can move away from a problem, or you could be at odds with somebody that lives in your country or your state or your city or your block. That you could have a problem with that and be able to be free from what's inside of you or what's hurting both of you. You can't fight a war on two fronts. I mean, shit. It depends on who you are. I know the devil and the people that practice that Luciferian bullshit, they can't fight no battle on no fronts. They got to gang together and jump whoever the fuck they fighting against. So whoever they're fighting against got to fight that battle on two fronts. The devil don't fight no battles. The devil is an attacker. The devil will never be on the defense. The devil will always be trying to do something to throw off whoever is on the defense and keep you on the defense. And as you're on the fence, it's easy to sway you to fall on the wrong side. Because as every righteous battle you ever seen fought on TV or in real life, it always comes down to when the Avatar was taking away the Fire Lord's bending power, right? That little sliver of blue, that's that little sliver of fate. That's that little sliver of life. That's that little sliver of hope. And that little sliver of hope is always what lasts and changes the tide of the war. It's a little slither of hope. And that's what I am. I'm that little sliver of hope. I'm that little bit before it all goes dark. I'm that little light that you see before you give up. I'm that little light that you were looking for, and then you started to believe that that light was never going to be seen, or you were never going to be able to make it to that light. And then as soon as you start thinking that, I appear. When the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. Well, I could say the same thing for anybody that's ready for light and ready for life and ready to live. When you're ready to live, when you're ready for light, that's when I appear. I don't appear unless you're ready. That's why I said years ago, don't call my name unless you're ready for war. Because my life ain't never been easy. So the people that I represent and the people that I fight for and I champion, those people ain't living no easy life. Those people ain't living no life where they got both parents and both parents is in their life treating them like prince and princesses. I don't represent those people. I don't represent the people that were spoiled and got gifts on their birthday and Christmas. I represent the people that where your birthday was so close to Christmas, they ain't even think about you. And they ain't even think that it mattered to give you anything. And when Christmas came, you only got one present. And that was for your birthday and Christmas. I represent the people that never had no birthday parties. But they was always there for their other siblings' birthday parties. Even if nobody ever showed up to their sibling birthday parties, they was always there. I remember my sister never had nobody show up to her parties when she was in America. But I was always there. We was always dancing, having a good time. I didn't give a fuck if her friends never showed up. I was her friend that showed up. And we had fun. Because I wasn't going to look at my sister and her fake ass fucking friends who never show up for her and talk about her fake ass fucking friends. I wouldn't even talk about them bitches. I wouldn't even bring their names up. Me and my sister would just have fun. But it wasn't never that way when it came to me and my time and my turn. So I don't represent people that were spoiled. I look at spoiled people like rotten milk. I don't even want to be around you if you were spoiled. I was spoiled by my father beating me for shit that my sister and my stepbrother did. I was spoiled by my father beating me because the teacher said I did something in the class when there's 5 other fucking students that's doing this shit. And I'm just one of the ones that just so happen to have a parent that loves discipline and just so happen to be around children that didn't have any parents that loved them. So even if I didn't like the fact that I got my ass whooped for being a child or trying to have fun, I realize now that the teachers only call the parents of the child that care. If your parents don't give a fuck about you, obviously the teacher never called your parents. But I still represent you, especially if you got a good heart. If you turned into having the same heart as the ones that hurt you, I don't represent you. And don't even think about looking at my videos unless you're ready for fucking war. And I ain't talking about punching your way out of shit. I ain't talking about fighting your way out of fucking issues and situations. I ain't talking about creating fucking issues. I'm talking about going within. And as soon as you go within, every single thing from your past is going to step to you and try to suck your dick or eat your pussy. And you got to tell them motherfuckers, no, get the fuck out of my face. And if you don't get the fuck out of my face, I'm going to treat it as a life threat. And I'm going to defend myself until you're dead. Because I'm not going back to the past and living a life that is going to kill me. I'd rather go uncertain into the future and live a life that I'm not sure, but I'm prepared to die. But I'm ready to live. Because I don't want to live a lie. I represent you. I don't represent no spoiled brat. And I don't give a damn how much pictures and videos I like on fucking Instagram. I never met none of you bitches, so I don't give a fuck about none of you bitches. I care about those children that y'all neglect, that y'all claim y'all trying to make money for, But as soon as y'all make money, y'all look good and y'all children look like the same shit that y'all had them looking like last week when you didn't have no money. Now you have money, your children still look broke and you look rich. And yeah, I said look, not is. I ain't never seen nobody get on Instagram with enough money to make me think I want to live that life. Biggie said more money, more problems. And y'all niggas ain't rich enough to have enough money to not have no problems. I ain't never seen nobody get on Instagram over 50 years old, still have all the money that they gained from signing contracts in somebody else's fucking entertainment industry. We just now realizing that ain't no nigga ever got paid for the acting and the actor skills that they have. They all getting robbed and they all broke. They all waiting on a check from somebody. And whatever they have, that was just a front from the company so that they could shut the fuck up and keep working and keep being used to manipulate me and you. This is Life Talks with Trillsinatra. I talk about the real shit. I don't talk about the bullshit. But we could chop it up. We could chop it up and talk about all shit. As long as it ain't no lies. We could always talk about all this. You can't move away from your problems. Everybody wanna move, but it costs first, last, security deposit to even get an apartment or get a house or whatever. What you think you're gonna do when you go to a different country where the government fucks the people up so much so they don't give a fuck about the people that's from the country, and you not even from the country. You're gonna go there and they're gonna continue to make people think that you're alive on TV. Whole while you've been dead. They took your organs and everything out of you. But we just got, you did a couple years worth of content, so now they got a couple years worth of content until they kill you off, like how they do in the TV shows and the movies where they ain't want you there no more. How many movies and TV shows we see where we think that the actor or the actress from the last set is gonna be in there, and then they start the new movie or the new series and the motherfucker not there no more, and then they got some story written in as to how they killed them off. And y'all think television is just for entertainment. You don't know if somebody real baby or real child just got off and they're only using the content that they pre-made so they can keep you and your stupid ass fooled. Because y'all love believing the shit that y'all see on TV. I come from an era where they said don't believe none of that shit you see on TV. Believe none of what you see and half of what you read. That's the era I come from. Y'all believe any motherfucking thing. Hey, as soon as y'all see some shit on fucking internet, y'all believe it. Y'all go and y'all arguing with each other. And I was just watching a show, right? The school announcements was boring. So the little girl and her brother or her friend, they wanted to go and make the announcements fun again. And the shit came. It started off good. But then it got to debating, right? It actually, I was wrong. It didn't start off good. They thought that it was starting off good until they checked the stats. And the stats was so bad, it was worse than when it was boring. When they said it was boring, when they took over, it got worse, right? So the children saw somebody arguing on the TV set, right? The cameraman was arguing with one of the anchors. And so they realized that is what the people wanted to see, right? The debate. So they took the cameraman, put the cameraman as an anchor, and now the only thing that they doing is disagreeing with each other, right? And that's bringing the ratings up because people are interested in looking at other people argue. So it got so crazy that the children started changing their lives because of what the anchors said. If they said that the beanie was the hat, And the other anchor said that a fedora was the hat. You got children arguing over which hat is the best. And I remember we did exactly that. Talking about Jay-Z and Lil Wayne is the best rapper alive. Who's better? This or that. Right? Talking about which football team is the best. This or that. And if my team win, you got to wear my team's jersey. And if my team lose, I got to wear your team's jersey. And I got to walk around with an angry ass face because I really don't want to. Right? And then it got so bad. The principal told her it was going to get bad because that's why they stopped it the last time, because it got out of hand. And it got out of hand and she went begging. She was begging the principal to make it boring again, because when it's boring, all you have to deal with is the facts. When you tell the truth, they can't get entertained with that. But when you lie and you're a narcissist, and instead of owning up to the truth, you start a fucking fight, or you start an argument, or you start bringing up some shit that have nothing to do with what's going on now, and you talking about somebody's past, and you talking about what somebody did 15 years ago, and you arguing about something that you did now because you don't want to say, all right, I fucked up, I messed up, I apologize, it ain't gonna happen again. But you know it's gonna happen again. You know that you're not sorry, so you know that you can't apologize, because they're gonna just see you as a person that just continues to lie. Even if you apologize, you don't mean it. So you start an argument. Oh, what about what you do? What about what you do? What about this? What about that? Who gives a fuck about this or that? Nigga, you didn't say nothing when this or that was going on because you was doing this or that. But now that they see that you doing this or that and your ass is caught up, now you want to talk about this or that. Now you want to fight. Now you want to argue because you got caught. And you the only one doing wrong. Yeah. You can't move away from your problems. And a lot of people that's telling you to move away from your problems, they literally sitting on their ass wearing clothes that look dingy as fuck, and they ain't living no good life, but they telling you that they can show you how to live a good life. That doesn't make any type of sense to me. It doesn't make any common sense to me, but it makes money sense, right? Let me go to somebody because I hate my life, but I got $20. Let me go to somebody and get a reading from a stranger that don't know me from a can of paint. Never seen me before, but they're about to tell me about my ancestors. They're about to tell me what my great-grandmother told them to tell me, right? And I'm supposed to sit there and believe that they know my great-grandmother, or my great-grandmother is going to tell them something to tell me, when I'm all ears, baby. I'm all heart. I'm all soul, baby. You can come and talk. You can sit me down in the middle of the road with a fucking vision like that. So Raven, when she stops, she just goes. You can stop me anywhere and do that. Why the fuck do I gotta go to somebody else that I don't even know, and they're telling me that your ancestor told me to tell you this? Let me break it down for you. You in the middle of a reconstruction. So however you want them to reconstruct your brain, it's like a mirage, right? When you're in the desert and you're so fucking thirsty, anything looks like water. Even poison look like water. So you're going to go and you're going to ingest that poison through your mouth, and they're going to fuck you, right? They're going to make you think you need deodorant, and then they're going to spray that cologne in your nose or that perfume in your nose, and then they're going to poison you, and you will be fucked. You want to go around somebody that talk that sweet talk, but you don't realize that it's nothing but sweet lies, and you're going to open your legs up, and then you're going to get fucked. Or you're going to do it anal, and you're going to get fucked. Wherever you have holes, you can and will be fucked.